everybody, it's Bass and Gal Barbara. Thank you so much for checking out the channel and the video, and if you do find it useful or interesting, then please give it a thumbs up for a like, and subscribe to the channel so that you can receive notifications when I do future videos. Today I'm going to do a video, a kind of video that I haven't done before, that is really geared towards people that are just coming into bass fishing, whether they're wanting to pursue it, long-term, professionally, or somebody who's just wanting to get out and do something different and fun with their family. I had done a video last week about a lake that Dad and I went to, called Cedar Creek Lake in Kentucky, which is being made for a trophy bass lake. And I couldn't believe how many people were already there. It was surprising to me at first because, with the virus and things being shut down, I really didn't think that it would be packed. So there were already people in the parking lot, and then they just kept coming in behind us. I've never seen that lake as packed as it was that day. And it got me thinking, it actually makes total sense because everything's closed down. You can't really go to do anything in public, and the outdoor recreation is something to do safely by yourself with your family to maintain the social distancing, and still have the opportunity to go out and do something fun. And so, I was talking with some of my friends in the industry, and, we have a unique opportunity to really encourage people, to help support, answer questions, whatever it is, to help facilitate for people to do that, because who knows how long this is going to be our situation. With that being said, I want to go over a few things that will decrease starting into bass fishing from being so overwhelming. And if you are into fishing already and you're watching this, thank you for your continued support, and you're going to get a sneak peek at some of my favorite lures. Hopefully you're not competing against me in any future tournaments. But the going shopping for something with bass fishing, there's so many companies, so many different baits, colors. It can just be very overwhelming, even for people who fish all the time. So I'm going to break it down for you. As far as a rod and a reel, get something that you're comfortable with. If you're just starting out, something that you're not going to have a bunch of frustration with, because if you are just starting in fishing and you're constantly getting frustrated, you're less likely to continue to do that. So just go and get something that you like, that you feel comfortable with, physically and financially. I get my rods and reels from Six Skill Fishing, and they are absolutely for the everyday angler. Their prices are unmatched and their gear is top notch. So you can definitely check them out. They have bait casters as well as spin cast rods, and reels. Sorry about that. For the line, I recommend Runkle. I actually just received my Pro Staff pack in the mail yesterday. But this is a company, again, they are for the everyday angler, and their line is all that I use. You don't want to skimp on your fishing line. If you have really cheap fishing line, or it's nicked or something like that, you're going to lose a lot of fish. But Runkle, the price is absolutely where it should be, for top quality line. So let me just show you this. This is the Power Mono 17 pound. I actually use that a lot for my topwater fishing, and then for a lot of vegetation, cover, stuff like that, I have They're power braid, which I used in my last striper fishing video as well. And there it is in the moss green. So I'm very picky about my fishing line, so this is what I go with for the fluoro, mono, and braid. I can do another video later about what I use when. Again, I'm just trying to condense it. So, hooks and weights. This can get terribly expensive if you just go out buying all kinds of stuff. So I would recommend a pack of 1/4 ounce tungstens and 3/8 tungstens, as well as something on a jig head like this, where the weight is actually attached to the hook. And with that being flat, it's going to sit on the bottom just like that. And smaller baits and stuff like that on a tough day, it is really hard to beat a shaky head or a Ned rig or something like that. And so just to keep it simple, that's what I would get as far as the weights. I say tungsten because it absolutely will make a difference in you feeling a fish take your bait. And you know, and that versus the lead. So the lead is cheaper, but personally, I would recommend getting tungsten. I am not on pro staff for any different weights, you know, companies. So any type of tungsten, you know, I would recommend. I've used several of them and have never had an issue. For hooks, they come in multiple sizes and shapes. If you want to get a hook that is universal, where you can use it a lot of different techniques, a lot of different types of baits, I would just go with a regular Gamakatsu, although it can be any brand, but you want to make sure that it has a nice sharp point. And they come in, you know, like I said, small to huge. I would get, if I was just going to buy 2 packs, I would say a pack of 3/0 and a pack of 4/0, because right in that size is going to cover a lot of different plastics that you would probably throw. If you have a little bit of extra money and you're going to buy more gear, then I would also include a pack of 2/0 and a pack of 5/0, just because then it will, any bait that you throw, you'll be able within that range to you know, hook them up perfectly. And I will show you how I do this. Okay, this is actually one of my favorite crawls from Too Fresh Fishing in the 420 series. Great for clear water around rocks. So this is how you would thread a typical plastic bait if you're doing a Texas rig. Put it up through the nose, and then you're going to bring the hook out, and it's going to twist around. So go ahead and let it twist, and then if you'll see it, it's going to come up like that. And oops, and then you take it, you bend it, take it all the way through the bait, so that's what it's going to look like. And then I just skin hook it just like that, and you have a weightless creature bait, and then the hook would be up here on the line. So that's what I would recommend. This right here is a 3/0 hook. So definitely recommend having those in that size. Now for the baits. When it comes to the springtime fishing, it is really hard to beat a vibrating lipless crankbait. Actually all year long, even, you know, cold summer morning. And this is one of my favorites, and this is made by Runkle as well. And, you know, as you can see, it's just got the hooks on the front, but the fact that it's got this extra, this blade, and how it moves through the water column, you're going to get more bites on this. So when you're throwing it, be ready for those subtle hits on it and set the hook, because, you know, you have to remember you do only have, one set of hooks on there, so you've got to get it in the fish. But I absolutely love this. You can cast it so far, even though it's small. You can adjust how deep you're going to be fishing, you know, because it does have a high fall rate. So definitely check this out. All the websites will be in the description, so you'll be able to have access that way. So you don't have to write anything down if you see something you like. A buzzbait. Everybody knows that the best and most fun fishing is on a good topwater bait. And everybody knows in fishing, a buzzbait is a big fish bait. You know, they just produce. That's all there is to it. You know, it has this clacking right here, so that's going to be hitting in the water. It's going to leave a bubble trail. A lot of personal best fish for a lot of people come off of a buzzbait. This one is one of my favorites. It's made by Turbo Bounty Hunter. His name is Derek Herring, and he makes the same exact buzzbait in a black and red. And I love the black and red for the spring, and then the rest of the year I usually throw the black and the blue. But great bait to have. Again, it'll be in the description. Now, this is where it starts to get kind of confusing for people, because there's so many different types of plastic baits. So if you're new, just try to like narrow it down and just try a few things instead of spending $200 on plastic baits. It's just easier to do that, to find your confidence baits and your strength baits. So this is just my recommendation. When you're first learning how to fish a Texas rig, which is, again, it's when the hook or the weight is going to be on the top, and the hook's going to be on the line placed. Sorry, Ozzy. Stab my dog with it. So it's going to be sitting like this. Okay, that is a Texas rig, obviously online. But when you're first starting out, you have to get a feel for what a fish feels like when they pick up that plastic and it hits their mouth. You know, and it's definitely trial and error. But a hook set doesn't cost you anything. They're for free. So if you feel that bait do anything differently, set the hook. I would recommend starting out with something similar to this. And this is a Gambler Flappy Daddy. It's usually used as a jig trailer, but you'll catch a lot of fish on this. And especially when you're trying to learn how to fish that way, that's really beneficial. And the reason that it's good is because, if you see, let me grab a hook here. I usually do put it on kind of a longer hook, but if you see here, okay, I'm going to thread this again the same way as that other one. I'm going to have the hook going in like this, push it through, it's going to come down, going to wrap around again, and then it's going to go into the Flappy Daddy like this. Okay, so just like that other one, if you look and then you skin hook it, that's what it'll look like. And you will get hits on the fall, you will get them off of the bottom. When you are cranking it back to the boat as fast as you can to make your next cast, you'll get bit that way too. That's one of the reasons I love it. But if you look at this, that plastic has a long way to go to get out of the fish's way. And that's a good thing, because if the bulkier that the bait is, the more difficult it is when you set the hook to get, watch how easy this goes down. But if it's a lot thicker bait, it does not slide down as easy. And you can lose a lot of fish that way, you know, if you're hesitant. So I learned, this is the bait that I learned how to fish a Texas rig, and now it's one of my confidence baits that I use. I don't know that I have fished a tournament in the past 5 years where I did not throw that. I hope nobody's listening that competes against me. Okay. Now, another one that you can learn to use with is this, which is a Big Sexy Baits Mayhem 2.75 and a kudzu. I like this color for the clearer water, and for my rivers and dirty water, I like the black with red flake in the spring. And then I'll take a black with a blue flake, or even a purple. I like that, but this is the red one. And with these, you can do it on a small Texas rig, you can do it weightless, and when you do it weightless, you can either do it wacky rigged, which a wacky rig is like this. Okay, if you've got your hook right here, I just take it from the bottom. I take it and just put it through that part of the bait. And so when you throw it, I kind of did that a little uneven, but it's gonna just go down like that. So for these, I fish these mostly weedless, and that's my favorite way to fish these. But I've fished them on a Carolina rig, on Ned rigs. A Ned rig. Yes, you want to fish that on a Ned rig, especially when it's tough fishing. The other thing, which is also made by Big Sexy Baits, that I want to show you, is their Newt, because this is good for a small Texas rig, a Ned rig, a Carolina rig, and it is their 3-inch Newt. If you can see it, look at the detail in that. And you know, when you're making small plastics, the detail, the smaller the bait, the harder it is to do. And when it comes to my finesse fishing, when I want to downsize, Big Sexy Baits is definitely hard to beat. They're one of my favorites, and the one that I use the most, really. So that is for those. Again, I showed you the 2 Fresh Fishing. This is the one that I had put on the hook for you. This is their stubby crawl. If you are on a rocky bank that is churning up a lot of water, whether it's boat traffic, wind, and also in the spring of the year, anything that mimics a crayfish is tough to beat. I would say that there's probably more plastics like designed and made that are trying to resemble a crayfish. So I love this one. I love the color. Again, this is, I will use this in the middle to clearer water tier. Another thing that you will hear in the fishing is how productive a Cinco is. And if somebody says, oh, I used a Cinco, okay, they're made by a lot of different companies with different names, but this is my favorite right here. This is the Stickum from 2 Fresh Fishing, the same ones that made this. And this, people fish it all kinds of different ways. For me, I typically fish this weightless. The same way that I did this bait, I'm gonna fish this bait the same way, unless there's too much cover. Then I will Texas rig it, and here's the difference. If you wacky rig it, just in case you forgot, I'll show you again. If you wacky rig it, coming up through, you wanna get, if you can see that middle, it's got like that egg sac change. I put it right through there like this, and that's how it's gonna fall, just like that. Now it'll have more action. Now if you do it weedless like you do the Texas rig, again, you're gonna come down like this, come out and follow it around. And this is too small of a hook. I wouldn't use this size hook for this. I'd go another bigger, but bring it through and skin hook it just like that. And so when it falls like this, you know, it's gonna be more straightened out. So where if you wacky rig it, you know, it's gonna have that bend. This one's gonna fall kind of like, you know, more, just straighter like that. And if I can get away with it, I'm gonna do it wacky. If I'm around too many trees or, you know, something that it can get caught in, then I'll do it weightless. This is a great tough day bait, cold water bait, because of just the slow action. You just throw this out there, let it sink. Don't gotta work it like you would a fluke or anything like that. And the other one that I wanted to show you is the Jimmy Frog. And this is also made by Big Sexy Baits. It's the 3-inch Jimmy Frog. Look how real that looks. Isn't that insane? Absolutely insane. And look at the legs on that. Anytime you're around lily pads, grass, reeds, anything that's green, definitely consider the Jimmy Frog, because it is natural looking and it's small enough to where you're gonna get increased bites on, you know, tough days, good days, it doesn't matter. And then I would just fish this on a smaller hook. So that's what I wanted to show you today for the most part. If you have a video idea, something that that you want to know more of, you know, what line to use when, what colors when, just anything, just tell me in the comments, send me a message, let me know, and I'll be sure to get that taken care of for you, because unfortunately we're not fishing as much right now as we normally would be, so I do have extra time. So just remember, when you go out, just, you know, maintain your social distancing as best as you can, and take the kids out to the pond, to the farm pond, to a lake that's on the outside or in a park, or, you know, wherever you can get access to water, and throw around and, you know, and see if you can have some fun. At least you will be out of the house and safe. And that's the main thing. We're doing okay here. I hope everybody else is doing okay. Hang in there. We're going to get through this. One way or another, we're going to get through it. It's going to stabilize. In the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of each other, try and get out on the water. Love you guys. Thank you for watching.